Welcome back. I hope you are enjoying our conferences, and I would like to announce our next speaker, Yaroslav Shakula, who is CEO of Yard Hub, with the topic Venture Studio Model in Web3 Space.
Hey everyone, nice to see you again at this great conference. Thanks to the organizers of HGC for having me once again here. Last time I was talking about incubating a blockchain game, and since that we've built the whole process, the whole framework around it. And today I want to go a little bit from one case to the business side and tell you a bit about the venture studio model and how it can contribute to the gaming and especially to the Web3 space, including gaming. Essentially, a venture studio is a company, is a venture that repeatedly creates new projects and new companies. So the model is to test as many ideas as possible in a very short period of time. So the earlier the concept fails, the earlier we understand that this is not a potentially good way to go, and we can reallocate the resources and try something else. So it's creating ventures from the scratch. We start with the ideas. The project leads, the founders pick up the ideas from the bank of ideas, so they come with their own. And after that, through a streamlined process, we lead this to a prototype, an MVP, and later on to seed funding, Series A funding, and creating a new a new company. So the four main traits, I would say, venture studio features is first, it's this iterative and repeated process of creating new companies. Second is that simultaneously we can work on many different projects. Right now in our portfolio, there are 6 projects that are going live altogether. They all have separate leads, but they do share the back office resources, some CPO, CTO, and other experts resources. And that is another trait of venture studios, that it provides the portfolio project with a shared resource pool that, of course, gives them opportunity to get more qualified and more high quality resources from the very start. And the venture studio is not like an incubator or accelerator, which are only catered to the portfolio projects at the certain stages of their lifetime. Instead, venture studio actually co-founds a project and comes along all the way from the idea to the company and so on, further on. What we know about startups, not Web3, but all startups in general, that one thing they do have in common, they share, is that the chances for them to fail are very high. According to different researches and questionnaires, the top 10 reasons for startup failures, I won't read them all, but the most important ones are no market need, no product market fit. They get outcompeted during like the building part of their journey. They have a bad business model, bad calculations, haven't worked through the business model good enough, or they just run out of cash and their burn rate is too high and cannot be sustained because they don't raise the new rounds or run out of money before planned. The problems in Web3 startups, besides those that have been discussed on the previous slide, are the following, as we deem them to be the 4 main problems for the Web3. First is the low quality of business processes. This situation is becoming better, slowly but steady. It's very different from what we've seen in 2017 and 2018, when the whole crypto and blockchain world was a little bit, like shady for many of people. They didn't understand how these things could work. Maybe it's all about speculation, also about some scams. So it was really hard for the industry, for the whole Web3 industry, to attract top founders, to attract top talents. And that is why the overall quality of business processes was quite low. it's still very far from being good, and it's still not really mature compared to more common startup niches. So this still remains to our liking as a problem. The second problem that we outline is different kinds of scams, rug pulls. So again, because the whole industry is not mature, it's sometimes still reminding us of the Wild West, and like a lot of new fresh guys suddenly get access to money because some people want a quick buck and they don't really want to dive into research, to do due diligence. They just give money to someone claiming they will do something, and when suddenly those people, who are very often are not even identified, they're not doxed, they see, okay, I can either put myself under this burden of building something for a few years, and I could just grab this mill or two or whatever and run. So this is the another serious problem that undermines the trust of towards the industry from the investors of different caliber. Third is the non-user friendly products. This has something to do with the first problem. A lot of product expertise, new product expertise is coming right now to the Web3 space, but it's still very far from good. A lot of projects are made by the tech guys who are really crazy about the great technology they are building. But sometimes, I would say pretty often, more often than it should happen, they do forget about the one very important thing. If you don't have a paying customer, then your product will most probably fail sooner or later. Because if you don't have your business model proven, if it just doesn't find the product market fit, eventually, even if you have been successful in raising capital, one day this will end. So you should focus on building the products that users will like, and this is both about the business model itself, whether this product solves some market needs and some people problems, and the UX UI experience, whether it's actually easy to use what we offer. Again, Web3 products are doing much better lately, and we can see more and more products coming to the market that can be used by non-experienced users. But still, this is something to tackle, I believe, for a few years at least. The fourth reason, which is very unique for Web3, is that the startups here are very dependent on what market cycle we're currently in. We all know we're right now in maybe we do hope that in the end, but it may be in the start or at least amidst the current bearish cycle. And that is where a lot of good teams, good startups struggle, because as they cannot raise new rounds, as they cannot convince their previous investors that what they're building is still something needed by the market, and everyone should be content and believe in that. And this is how, on the controversy, on the other side, if the market is bullish, we do see a lot of very strange projects getting funding. And this is also not really good for the whole ecosystem, because it goes like seesaw, and that all leads us to pumps and dumps, which again undermines the trust. So we do see this problem, and we do think that it's very important to make sure that good projects, good teams, good ideas enjoy enough funding even during the bearish cycle, so that the building doesn't stop. And when the market sentiments are again going up, the product is still there and the people are still there. They're not dead. How venture studios as a business model can actually tackle those problems and contribute to the overall success of the Web3 industry. So these are the facts coming from, again, more common startup niches, and what they say is that startups coming from the venture studios are 30% more efficient. I'll go a bit into more details on how it's measured and what it actually means a bit later. The main thing the venture studio does is it actually helps founders avoid the most basic but very deadly mistakes that a lot of early stage projects do on their journey. So also, when you have as a serial entrepreneur, I can second that. When you have enough time to focus on the product itself, on the idea itself, it's very valuable, because according to other studies, an average startup founder spends over 60% of their time trying to fundraise, trying to find money, trying to make things run, like on the office side, on the team side. You need to do a lot of hiring, which is also very difficult when you're on the very early stages and you don't have a lot of money. You do need to dive into many things that distract you from doing that main thing, building your product. The success factors of startups that venture studios can cater to and amplify, actually, we define as main 5 of them. Funding is something that venture studio lets its portfolio startup not to think about. So if you are moving according to the pipeline, to the framework that have been designed, and you deliver different stages. So first it's like an idea, then it's kind of a hypothesis, then it's a prototype, then it's an MVP. And each time the founders, which we call the entrepreneurs in residence in Venture Model Studio, the founders need to actually get approval from the investment committee. It could be internal, it could be external, so that they continue building. If they don't deliver on the early stage, they just don't get this funding, and they can switch to other idea because, well, most probably this idea is not really good. Choosing a good idea is the second thing, which is a business model. If you apply a few different frameworks to analyze an idea and trying to build the business model around it, chances are high that you will understand quite early that this idea is not really good, it's not that good. So you should criticize it, you should find a lot of flaws in it, and that will allow rejecting the idea on the early stage and saving money on building something that will never happen. Ideas themselves, they're coming from very different sources. They are internal ideas, so it's the members of the team generate ideas and they put them into the bank of ideas. They are then being refined and processed so that they can go into the idea validation pipeline. Some of the ideas come from the external founders, with whom we co-found new projects, and some of the ideas come from co-ventures. So we are now building a few projects based on Web3 and blockchain with the companies very far from this space. So we have identified a few possible use cases of Web3 for their business, and we are co-venturing them. So that's how ideas come from the external side as well. Team is super important because when you are an early stage startup, very often your team is yourself, and that's it. You're alone. Sometimes it's a few co-founders. Sometimes maybe you've got some friends that can help you, but nevertheless, when you're on the very early stage and when you're just at the beginning of your journey, having access to good team is crucial, and that's what venture studios can really help with, because as I mentioned already, we have a shared pool of resources. So they have access to experienced CTO, experienced CPO, experienced business developers. They have access to designers, illustrators, developers, whatever. So that they don't need to think, oh, okay, how should I convince someone skillful join me at this stage? This is what Venture Studio provides. And timing. Being a serial entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur in residence in Venture Studio can help founders sometimes pause on doing what they're doing right now if the timing of the market is not right. So it's better not to release this idea, or this realization of the current idea on the market right now. You can pause it, switch to another project, and then come back to this one when the time is right. On the details, while the venture studio startups are more efficient, based on the researches, the success rate of startups to raise a seed round, those that come from venture studios, is 84%. Then 72% of those make it to Series A, compared to 42 for traditional startups, which is a huge difference. And this is the data from the traditional startup scene, and we are currently validating it on Web3 scene. But as for now, we can't see any reason for that not being true for Web3, or being even more comprehensive, given the immaturity of the Web3 industry. The structure of venture studios is super simple. So startup founders, they are either external or entrepreneurs in residence. So these are seasoned entrepreneurs, seasoned product leads that whose mindset is built in the way that they can repeatedly start new projects and not being attached to one project for years. All these startups at the very beginning, they are part of the studio, and when they get financed and they are incorporated as separate companies, they are being part of the portfolio of the venture studio. And the studio also features the in-house team that can cater to the key competencies of startup life. So that's HR and legal and business development and marketing and product. So whatever a startup founder might need, we have it at hand in the venture studio. Comparing building startup outside venture studio and inside. So as we've talked before, a very small fraction of time can be actually allocated to building a product. All other time, the founder is running, say like he has this chicken, trying to find resources, trying to find money, investment, trying to build the whole back office. So it's legal. You should dive into details there. Then you should deal with operations and finances, and you should hire someone, or maybe trying to find someone who will agree to work with you as a co-founder or contractor. And this is everything you should do to make sure you at least have a chance for your product to happen. When the startup is a part of venture studio, all this burden of back office and operations is taken out of the founder's head completely. The processes are managed by, and sometimes they are managed directly, sometimes they're assisted by the experienced leads and seasoned founders who, the deck says that all the ins and outs, I would say most ins and outs of building a startup, because you never know all of them. And that effectively allows founders to focus on building the product around that very idea, than on all those secondary stuff, which is secondary in terms of being interesting and actually being something revolutionary, but still it's very important. It's crucial. It's essential. If you don't have all those auxiliary functions done well, no matter what quality of your idea is, it will most probably fail. And last but not least, venture studio also helps with future fundraising rounds. So a venture studio, through different mechanisms, it could be an internal investment fund, or it could be just part of the whole framework. Venture studio provides initial financing, and later on it helps with the later fundraising stages, because it is still in the company as a shareholder, as a co-founder, and interested in building a successful venture. The value of venture studios for the Web3 environment, we see it as a huge one. This is actually maybe the main slide here, because I want to emphasize on how viable and how beneficial the venture studios could be for the whole Web3 space. First, through the mechanism of venture studios, we attract more experienced founders, product owners, and other professionals to the whole environment, is to the whole ecosystem. It means that the quality of projects becomes better. It means that the whole human resources pool quality becomes higher, and that all caters to better and more sustainable growth. These streamlined back office processes that I've been talking about before really mitigate the scam and rug pull risks. Here how it works. We as a venture studio are completely open. We're completely transparent. We have a legal structure. We all have faces. We all have LinkedIn profiles, and we are doxed people. And all the projects that we start within the venture studio are within our responsibility. So we are responsible for them at least being put to life. Of course, most of them will fail as businesses, but they will never be interrupted by a scam or rug pull or some other illicit activity. That is a super important thing, and that leads us to the third part of the value list, I'd say. Because it's structured like this, that the venture studio accumulates the responsibility, accumulates seed money, it accumulates a lot of expertise. It radically makes it safer for the VCs that are only planning to join the Web3 industry and start putting money into this industry. Makes it a much safer bet for them, because they can be sure that at least the idea would be put to life. It will not go away. And let's say if some founder happens to lose interest in the project or something, let's hope it doesn't happen, but some things do happen to people. This means that this project doesn't die. Within the venture studio, it's being allocated to another project lead. And that's how it makes it much safer for the investors. The maturity of any industry is built through rises and falls. So a lot of fails means that a lot of new seasoned entrepreneurs have been born. It means that a lot of bad ideas are now gone. So the chances that the next idea will be a better one are higher. So the model of venture studio of validating and killing bad concepts very fast cater to this pace of the industry progress. So the more bad and good, of course, startups we have and ideas we validate, the faster the whole industry becomes more mature and starts delivering better projects, better products for people, for investors, and of course, making us all continue our journey as pioneers of this great, fascinating Web3 world. Thank you for your attention. That's mostly all I had to say today. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Yaroslav, for your fantastic lecture. It is very interesting for me as well. Let me see if we have some questions from the audience. Oh, it seems like we have a very shy audience today. But anyway, maybe you have something to announce, what will be the next from your company in a couple of months, in the nearest year? What are your plans?
Sure. So our current portfolio consists of different projects. So what I can reveal is that we're building let's say a Web3 introductory project that will allow newbies to join Web3 effectively and make money on that. Well, that's that popular learn to earn concept, something like that. We do not put it this way, but effectively it will work like that, because we do feel the Web3 industry needs a lot of more casual users, those that are not familiar with everything. Another project is not similar, but it logically continues the idea of the first one. It's the user experience feedback tool focused on Web3 projects, because we do know from our own experience that Web3 projects suffer to get nice user feedback before they launch, just because the current user feedback platforms don't have enough users that are actually experienced and know anything about crypto, Web3, and whatever. So this is something that we do need. And based on the customer development processes, a lot of Web3 projects need this tool as well. We're building 3 games, blockchain games. Some are classic play to earn, some are so free to own. The new very sexy concept is when effectively the whole game is built around the community, and all the assets that appear in the game, they are produced by the assets of the initial community. So this is a new cool concept that will again bring a lot more people into the industry, and that will make us all happy.
That's really good.
We're also building a white label crypto wallet solution. We're building a NFT project that will allow people rent cars at very attractive prices and sell that right or purchases on the secondary market. So a lot of great ideas and projects already in the portfolio. We're always open to any kinds of partnerships. So because of our vast portfolio of projects, we do have something interesting for everyone, whether it's an investor or existing Web3 projects, some gaming project, platform, whatever. Come and talk to us. We have a great team. We have funds, and we are ready to rock.
Sounds really great. Thank you for your time, for an absolutely fantastic lecture. I hope to see you during our next Hyper Games conferences as well. And have a good Friday.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Stacey. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.